we'll give them a brief setup to what this is they're about to hear.
So over the weekend, over the holiday weekend, the New York Times reported that a renowned Parkinson's expert had visited the White House. At first, it was just one time they had found based off of White House visitor logs. And then as they dug more over the weekend, they had a lot of time to do so. They found that it had been 8 times in 8 months at least. And then the White House press secretary had the entire holiday weekend to prepare for this, to come up with how they're going to frame this, how they're going to talk about this, and give an answer to reporters. But in reality, a statement they released before her press briefing to reporters was obtuse at best. It didn't really give answers. And then they went on the offensive. The reporters went on the offensive saying, listen, you guys claim to be the most transparent administration in history. These are public records. Why are you basically hiding the ball and not giving us direct answers? Did this doctor go to evaluate or treat the president? And what you'll hear now is after several answers, one of which we played in the previous segment, the frustration building, not just with one single reporter, not just Peter Doocy getting frustrated at the way that they're handling this, but a lot of them from all sorts of outlets. Let's go ahead and play bite 2.
I understand that. I hear you.
Right there for anyone to see.
Ed, I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
The doctor.
We have to keep their privacy.
It is public information.
I hear you. Guys, hold on a second. There's no reason to go back and forth with me in this aggressive way.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What are you missed about? What are you missed about?
Everything he just asked about.
And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, you didn't have to come back and clean it up.
I never answered the question incorrectly. That is not true. I was asked about a medical exam. I was asked about a physical. That was in the line of question that I answered. And I said, no, he did not have a medical exam. And I still stand by that. Matter of fact, the president still stands by that. He had a verbal check-in. That is something that the president has a couple times a week.
Now in regards to Dr. Kevin Kennard.
And I am telling you right now that I am not confirming names from here. It is a security reasons. I am not going to do that, Ed. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me. I'm not going to confirm a name. It doesn't matter if it's even in the log. I am not going to do that from here. That is not something I am going to do. What I can share with you is that the president has seen a neurologist for his physical 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah, so that is obviously a statement coming out, but not even a statement, just chaos. And Will, when you look at this, like you said, they knew this was coming.
Right.
This was not a gotcha moment. This was a question that has been asked. And obviously you're having mounting conversations that are happening in the press. You're having it in reality. I believe half the conversations I'm having with just my friends, people are talking about whether President Biden will run, should run, is running. That seems to be a constant 24-hour news cycle of this. And when these moments happen, it does feel like there is more unsettled more of an unsettling feeling happening in the White House than ever before.
Well, and just hours after the press conference, the White House doctor released a statement about the reason that doctor had visited the White House, so was able to give a lot more information. It was about meeting with veterans and others, that it was a special clinic that would be run out of the White House. Whether or not that's reality is one thing, but what it tells you is they could have told you. Right. And they released that later. Why didn't they do that before the press conference and save face? Instead, the White House press secretary is doing more damage to the campaign and the office of the presidency by not being prepared in a situation like that. But that journalist that was pushing her so hard, that she kept saying, Ed. That was Ed O'Keefe from CBS News. That
right.
isn't an Ed at Fox News. That isn't an Ed at Newsmax. That is an Ed from the White House correspondent from CBS News, was very frustrated with the way that the White House was handling this. And you have to also look at what else is happening on Capitol Hill today, and that is that Democrats had a caucus meeting, so all Democrats in the House, about President Joe Biden's political standing. And what happened is reporters were waiting. It was a top secret meeting. No reporters were allowed inside, but they were questioning members of the House as they left this meeting. And Jake Sherman from Punchbowl News reported that one House Democrat who is very supportive of Biden told me, quote, it felt like a funeral. inside there. And one of our producers pointed out, was that a funeral for Joe Biden or was it a funeral for the Democrat Party?
For that or for the campaign.
Exactly.
And you say for what source was that?
Punchbowl News. So Jake Sherman used to be with Politico and others.
Punchable or punch bowl?
Okay. Like at a party.
I like punchable. I think
Punchable
that's
news.
that is how I feel about most news.
Most people would probably agree with that statement.
If
more.
that domain is available.
Yeah, when Logan's signing up. Brand new news outlet, Punchable News.
It is crazy. And I think that when people hear that and they see that it feels like a funeral, they're hearing these statements. But then you have that letter that came out yesterday from President Biden, which really doubles down, digs his heels in, saying, I am going to be your nominee. You voted for me. It's what's going to happen. We had one caller that called in yesterday who said specifically, I'm still supporting the president, even though I know he is diminished. Yeah. And when you hear that, you go, okay, I know there will be probably, 48% of the country that will probably vote that way. They're going to vote for whoever the Democrat is on the ticket. If you can get them motivated to get out there. And I think the problem is they have right now is the obvious choices to replace President Biden become a big headache.
Right.
Because I don't know if they're ready for the backlash or ready for just to deal with President Trump in sense of if you're a Michelle Obama, do you really want to go head to head with President Trump right now? I think there's a good chance, by the way, if it is a Michelle Obama, you do activate a base. You potentially do win. Or she could wait 4 years when it is a completely fresh new group of people likely and come out and maybe have a potential landslide. Or is she just going, I don't want to do this? And then you have the Kamala Harris situation where she clearly has kind of put herself out there where if Biden is out, she's presumptive.
Well, and also because the money. It's a lot easier for all the money they've raised, hundreds of millions of dollars, to move it because it's effectively still the campaign at that point. But one other thing to point out is that out of this meeting, one member of Congress told Jake Sherman, there is no consensus on Biden. So within House Democrats, elected Democrats, there is no consensus on Biden on whether he should remain at the top of the ticket or not. So now you have a situation where the president in campaigning is having to campaign to elected Democrats and donors, not the American people. So they're in a really chaotic, topsy-turvy situation that we've never seen before in our lifetime. And if he can't build consensus among the party, the elected officials that are supposed to be supporting him almost unanimously, then how is he going to turn that and continue to campaign? And it looks like there's no way he is leaving. He has dug his heels in. The longer this draws out and the quieter Trump stays on this, that's one reason why I think he hasn't announced the vice presidential pick yet, because why break up this news cycle? Let it run for as long as possible because they clearly are in disarray. It is chaotic. They're doing their best impressions of House Republicans right now that never can seem to unify. And it's all over whether the current sitting president should remain their party leader.
Yeah, is up for the job. I think this is a pivotal time because you look at the situation at hand and you look at the details that are coming in. And I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime where, like you said, the party really revolts against their own leader in this way. Like I said, you'd think this would have been maybe what happened after President Trump's loss and all the chaos that came after that. But no, you saw actually the exact opposite. You saw a rallying, maybe to the point where you're like, wow, this is kind of aggressive for a former president. But now you have on the other side a want to push back. And I really do believe this is Washington, D.C. Nothing is done as clear as you think it is. So do I think there's a way for President Biden to probably get out of this? Oh, yeah. I think there are plenty of great strategists right now trying to figure out all the different options they have to get him to drop out. I think it's happening. The conversations are happening. I would bet money on it because this isn't as simple as one guy going, I want to do this or not doing it. This is a machine that's behind it. These are big donors who are saying, I'm not going to fund anymore if you are the nominee. Well, when that starts happening, pressure starts mounting. And there are ways, look, I'm not saying that you can figure out ways financially to take care of the president. I don't know how that would all work, but this is Washington, D.C. It is the swamp. It is the dirtiest of the dirty. If they want something done and the people that are really in control want it done, they can. Now, in a weird way, you have a President Biden who is in his 80s, who has spent his entire life trying to become the president, finally got it. Sure, he's not going to go away quietly into the night. I don't think that is how that was ever going to happen unless there was some sort of real, and not to say there hasn't been, but a real medical emergency, something that is that really knocks him out of contention because he physically can't do it.